So my talk this afternoon is about collegial relationships, professionalism, and retention. And I'm going to look at those things separately. I think, first of all, let's talk about professionalism. It's one of those words that's used a lot. And I tried to figure out what the word meant, and I found all these different definitions for it. But I think, loosely speaking, professionalism is the kind of traits or characteristics that exemplify exemplary practice by a professional. So I thought to myself, well, what is a professionalism for a teacher? And I thought an image would be working, so that's a teacher. That's what we do. So you look at this person, what you see is, first of all, there's not enough time in the day or night. There's not enough time in the day or night to get your work done. She has hair, I don't, sorry about that. You spend lots of your own money taking care of your students and your after-school club, so yay, Chicago. You take home papers and things to grade every weekend. And my wife says that my teaching bag should get frequent flyer miles because it goes back and forth a lot. But the point is that we work awfully hard. We work awfully hard. And it's like a tale of two owls. So no matter how hard you plan, and get ready for the day or the year, by the end of the day, you're just frizzled, fried, discombobulated. And that's pretty much the way I feel sometimes. And you'd think that people that work as hard as we do, when we got to the summer, the first thing we do is hit the beach. Get some R&R, relax, and do everything that's going to relax you, right? But we don't do that. Here we've taken the first 2 weeks of our summer, and what did we do? We came here. So my first point about professionalism is that look at those people and hang all the different adjectives you need on that picture. A little crazy, of course. Enthusiastic, encouraged, want to learn more, want to be challenged. All those words that you think apply to that picture, that's what I think this professionalism is. And so I always take this moment to celebrate us because out of all the things we do, that's what we bring to the table. And I think that as we talk about what the Institute does for us, we begin there. We bring that, and then the Institute and the seminars, they bring things to light for us. Clear? So hold that picture in your head as we go through. So to talk about collegiality and to talk about retention, I found a couple of articles in the magazine called On Common Ground. And I like the title of that because the seminars place us all on common ground. And I thought it was very interesting to find some voices besides my own to speak about collegiality and retention. And Mr. Thylaker's name is one that I didn't know him before today, but I read his article and I thought, this is a pretty interesting person. There's also a person named Jane K. Marshall. I've got Alan Lee, our former director from Pennsylvania, and Ellen Kisker, who is one of the people that works for us, correct? So first, let me just talk about collegial relationships. So from Marshall's piece, this is from the 2015 edition of On Common Ground. You see all the different things she cites there for collegial relationships, and I'm not going to read all of them for you, but I just want to focus on several things. First of all, in our seminars, the teachers, the seminar leaders learn from us. We learn from them, and they learn from us, and that approbates a lot of our feeling of professionalism, correct? And the other thing that they do is that they very publicly laud and celebrate what we do. And if you saw this morning, Dr. Foreman, he was shouting out to people from Chicago, saying, I learned from you guys have taught me. And that happens everywhere in all the seminars. So as a teacher, you come and you think, I'm going to learn, but guess what? They learn from me also. And the thing that you realize from the very first time you come here is that your ideas are valued, that your perspectives are valued. There's a bullet point that I took out of there because one thing that seminar leaders do is that they tailor their syllabi for us. They have their ideas in their head, but then they'll say to you, well, what do you need? And they'll change the syllabi for us. They'll change the course content. We'll discuss one day as opposed to listening to their lecture. So there's a very feeling that your sense and your values are honored and celebrated. That's from Miss Marshall's. Ray's piece, Mr. Thylaker, he speaks about the very not so obviously effective teachers having respect. And back at home, we often get disrespected by everyone in the school. Janitors, the principal, parents, kids, everyone disrespect us. But here, when you come here, you feel this profound sense of respect, profound sense of mutual trust from all the people that you do. And that really makes your sense of professionalism and who you are as a person. It makes you feel pretty good, or as Alan would say, Paul's word yesterday was yummy. I like the word yummy. It makes you feel yummy. And the other thing that the seminars do is they bring you together with a diverse group of people. And I like being here because I hear people that teach in circumstances similar to my own, but they're very different. And we can talk together and see where we commune and where we differ. So that's the collegial relationships inside seminars. So this me move on a little bit to retention because this is from Kisker's article, and she bridges the gap between collegiality and teacher retention. And I just want to make a point because you just mentioned about some quantitative data. The scientist teacher in me wants to do quantitative data. And I found one piece from Dr. Vivian's report from a long time ago about the data about retention in the school district of New Haven for institute teachers versus non-institute teachers. But they cautioned us about that and said, there's no causality. Retention is a very complicated thing. You can't really say because they came to the institute, they're going to be retained. But the feeling in the literature that I read is that anecdotally we feel that there's a connection. I think you all can feel that. And guess what? How many of us have come to the Summer Institute for year upon year upon year? That's retention, okay? So what Ms. Kisker talks about, she says the collegial relationships facilitate professional relationships amongst all of us, and that those relationships help us support teacher retention. In another part of the article, she talks about how the Institute can counterbalance some of the situations that we have in our schools. And in our schools, we're very isolated. We don't really talk to people. You talk to your department chair, to a friend here and there, but as a community of teachers, I don't really feel that as much as I feel that here. And she talks about the Institute being able to counterbalance that feeling for us, which I think is very important. The last person I want to speak to about is Alan Lee, our former director. And this quote is about TIP, T-I-P. But I took out the P and left a little bracket in there because I think that relates to any, you can put TI Delaware, TI Tulsa, TI whatever, because I think this really responds to what we do here. And he says, and I'll just sort of try to quickly, is that when we feel valued as professionals, we have the resources we need, we're challenged, we feel yummy, and that makes us more satisfied with our work. And you go back to teaching and you feel like, you know what? I'm pretty good at this. I can really do this. And that aids in our ability to keep teachers in their districts. And he talks about urban districts because when you Google teacher retention or shortage, what you see is that the most vulnerable, the most marginalized communities are the ones that, we work in, but they're the ones where teacher retention and teacher shortages are the worst. So it's really important for us to take all these good vibes and all these feelings and go back to our home districts and stay there, please. So it is my finishing out. This is a takeaway. So seminars, collegial seminars, they're a supportive community of like-minded teachers. And if you remember, you don't, but on Monday, when we first had our first meeting, one of the first people, I think it was you, who said, I'm already having trouble, but guess what? I'm being supported by Eric. She mentioned you. She mentioned some people. She said, I'm already getting help from people here. And then you said, I'm scared as heck, but I think I'm going to make it through pretty much. And I remember it was like 9:30 in the morning, right before we began, that people were already feeling the vibe of this supportive community. And the rest of the stuff you see there, mutual respect and trust. We're all valued. Our leadership is celebrated, and on and on and on. And I left the and ... there to say, you fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks. Take some more stuff with you when you go home. Use that to keep yourself right inside your school. Thank you very much.